episode 4 of the Government Cheese Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Nick Wilder. And today we're talking about insecurities. First and foremost, this podcast is powered by WilderWorks Media. Are you searching for a top-tier media production services to capture the essence of your corporate or recreational events? Look no further than WilderWorks Media. As a full-service production company specializing in video and photography, our focus is ensuring your moments are immortalized with perfection. Whether it's a corporate conference, a product launch, or a thrilling outdoor adventure, WilderWorks Media has you covered. Stay connected with us on Instagram and Facebook for the latest updates and dive deeper into our portfolio on our website at wilderworksmedia.com. Want to sweeten the deal? Simply visit our website, describe your needs, and then put the promo code CHEESE to unlock an exclusive discount. Don't miss out on capturing unforgettable moments. Let WilderWorks Media bring your vision to life. We're talking about insecurities today. Story time, quick story time. So, I was in 6th or 7th grade, middle school. Arlington Middle School, stand up. If you know, you know. I was in middle school, and I remember at the time I had a low cut fade. It's light fade, ball fade, something like that. You know, the standard Memphis cut at the time. You know, everybody was trying to have waves around that time. I could never actually get waves. I tried. I had the box kits. I had the 360 Dax grease. It just didn't work. But I had the low cut fade. And I remember I was cool. You know, now growing up, I kind of didn't really like the way my head was shaped, but I didn't really make a big deal out of it because I seemed to be the only one who noticed it. So I was just like, well, maybe it's not really a huge deal, so I'm not going to worry about it. So I did that. You know, I was chilling, doing my thing, and one day this girl came up to me. I never forget it. It was in middle school. And I don't think she meant any harm by it, but I think I was trying to talk to her or whatever. I think she went back and told one of her friends that Nick's head is shaped like a dinosaur hump, right? And of course, you know, in Memphis, you know, we did something that's called checking, you know, so we were always just joking and stuff like that. And that was just kind of like the style, you know, but I think I took this one a little bit more personal because, you know, I actually liked her. You know, I thought she was cute. Tried to call myself, you know, being presentable to her, getting fresh for her, whatever. And then I come to find out that she tells me the girl that I have a crush on. She says, I found out that she thinks my head is shaped like a dinosaur hump. And I never, ever, ever forgot that. I'm 30 years old. I think that happened when I was 12, 13. And I still remember it to this day. Maybe 11. She said, Nick head looked like a dinosaur hump. And I said, ooh. I said, yeah, this is going to stick with me for a while. Now, not knowing at the time, that was my very first run in with an insecurity. I don't remember any pivotal moment before then that I guess you could say triggered me going into adulthood. And so when she said that, I was like, okay, bet. I said, I know what I have to do. And so, sure enough, that next semester I came back, 7th grade. It was 7th grade. Yeah. This happened in 6th grade. I came back in 7th grade and I was just like, nobody's going to ever tell me that again. I came back with a full fro. I mean, and it was crispy. I'm talking about a Webby crispy. If y'all know Webby the rapper, he had the crispy fro back in the day. I had it. I mean, it was perfect. And I made sure I went out of my way to make sure that everything was just right on par. I used to pat it down. People who know me, they remember I used to pat it down like this. And it was just perfect. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is good. Because this is going to hide that hump, one. And two, I'm liking the new attention that I'm getting. You know, a lot of people are like, hey, I like this look on you. You know what I'm saying? This looks good. Your fro, hey, they used to call me the fro man. I used to have the fro. And it was cool. It was cool, and so I did that for a while. I embraced that as my new look, you know, but the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, the reason why I really have this is because I'm trying to hide this dinosaur hump that's in my head, right? Cool, it's whatever. I'm doing my thing. And so I'm doing it, and people are starting to compliment me, and, you know, and I kept this afro really all the way up until my mid-20s. Actually, my mid-20s. So people are complimenting me on, you know, my hair and stuff like that. And And I've taken on that new look. I'm the fro guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to make sure I have my pick with me. I'm going to always be picking my fro. I'm going to make sure it's always clean. I'm going to have make sure I got the oil sheen popping, all of that. Cool. I adopted that and I ran with it. Then sometime I want to say maybe towards the end of my college years, 2014, 2015, I started to kind of feel like the area right where I felt that hump it was getting thin. And I couldn't really tell, but I was just like, maybe not. Because I noticed when I would pick my hair, it would be real kind of, a little kinky. But then when I come in the middle, it would just be real smooth. I'm like, oh man, I'm not even fighting this at all. This is a little too thin. So I didn't think nothing of it. So some days, weeks, months, maybe a year or so passed. And my barber, he said, hey, Nick, man, you getting a little thin at the top. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you getting thin, man. You may need to think about, cutting it low or he tried to sell me some oil or something. You know how the barbers do. He tried to sell me some kind of new growth hair or something. I was like, nah, I'm good. But what he did say, he was like, hey, well, maybe you should try the sponge. Now, the sponge, for those of you who don't know, is basically what it sounds like. It's like a hair sponge. You grip it and you make these little circles in your hair and it kind of makes it look kind of like this kind of natural, wild kind of look, but it still looks compact. It doesn't look like crazy. So I said, let's try that. I tried that and it hid the thinness for a while. And I just rocked with it. Just scrubbing and doing my thing. And then one day, I'm just in the mirror. I'm just like, it looks a little light in the tip. Now, mind you, since 7th grade, I've had this fro. And I've taken all of my confidence of at least the way my head looks, has been in this fro hiding it. So now this thing is starting to slowly erode away. My protection is starting to slowly come in and reside. And it's just like, oh man, this old trauma of like, man, is this hump going to started coming up, right? So, I'm ignoring it. And then finally I was just like, okay, I can't hide this no more. It's thinning pretty bad. And and the sponge is making it worse. So then I said, you know what? I'm just going to cut it low. Let's just see what a low cut looks like. I haven't seen my hair cut low since 7th grade or 6th grade. Let's just try it again and see what happens. So I cut it low. Of course, I'm an adult now, so I'm steering clear of anybody I went to middle school with that caused those feelings, that trauma, I guess you can call it. They're nowhere to be found. So I'm like, okay, new crowd, let's just cut it all off. So I cut all my hair off, and it was fine. I was like, my hair doesn't look that bad, I felt that it was bigger when I was younger, but it looked cool. And so then I was like, okay, I can do this look. And you can't even tell that it's getting low. So at this point, I'm kind of pretty much over the hump aspect of it. I've gotten over it. I'm just like, okay, this is the shape of my head. The low cut pretty much did it for me. And so then after that, I noticed that the hair at the top of my head was growing back at a much slower rate than everywhere else on my head. So now I have another problem. Oh man, I got a bald spot? No. We can't have that. It's like the lady that was on Get Out. No. We can't have that. Right? So I was like, oh man, I got a bald spot at 26, 27, 28? No. And so that happened, and for years I was like, okay. And my barber, shout out to Rick, man, Ricky Chops, man, he was cutting me for years, and he would cut it in a way to where he could cut it so that you couldn't even see where the thinness started and where the thickness began. So that line was blurred perfectly. But in about 6-7 days after that, oh man, you started to see the separation. And I'm talking about George Jefferson from the Jeffersons. It was bad. And so it got to the point where I could not miss that 2 week barber appointment. And of course, I'm wearing hats now. I wasn't even wearing hats like that. I'm trying to cover up this bald spot, and I'm trying to hold on to like just this old glory. I'm missing the fro now because now I don't have anything to cover. And so then, finally, I was in the mirror, and I remember like thinking like, okay, man, I gotta go back to the barbershop and starting to come back in, and it dawned on me like, man, I just got my hair cut 4 days ago, and it's coming back already, and I can't go to the barbershop every week, right? Of course, my barber would love that, but my pockets wouldn't love that. And so I was just like, okay. Now, mind you, all this time, I'm saying all this for a reason. Stay with me. All this time, I'm telling my barber, I said, listen, one day, I don't know when, but I'm going to come in here and I'm going to ask for the Jordan. And we all know what the Jordan is. All ball. Just give me the Jordan. Don't even think about it. Don't talk me out of it. Just give me the Jordan. When I say give me the Jordan, you know what it means. Break out the razor. He said, all right, all right. And every single time he'd be like, but you good. You don't need it. You still got time. Okay, cool. And then one day I said, you know what? It's time for the Jordan. Because I got tired of going back and forth and having him hide it. And, hey, cut it down a little bit more. Look at it. A little bit more. Look at it. A little bit more. And it's just like at a certain point, it's just like your barber can't save you. After a certain point, you can't be saved. And I wasn't going with the Beijing and the hair pieces. No, we're not doing all that. It's not that deep. We're not doing all that. And I always said that. I said before I break out the spray paint and all of that Beijing stuff, I said, I'll go bald. I walked in the barbershop and I said, Ricky, I said, I think I'm ready for the Jordan. I'm ready for the Jordan. And he kept asking me, he said, you sure? You sure? You sure? And I was like, yeah, man, I'm sure. I'm ready. And so let me show y'all. Show you what he did. He gave me the Jordan. So I'm bald. I'm 23. This is like it's smooth, y'all. It's smooth. Set out the Ricky chops. So he cut me all off, man, and now I'm bald, right? And what's so crazy about this is when I started this whole head hiding journey, my first concern was just the lump in my head, right? Right. But I didn't even consider being bald at 30. No, I didn't see that coming. Right. And so I said all that to say what? I said all that to say your insecurities are going to reveal themselves sooner or later, whether you like it or not, either in the best or the worst way. So get ready for them, right? What I mean by that is if you and I don't handle our insecurities as maturely as we can and just face those fears head on, then the older we get, the more that they're going to just start leaking out, right? You're going to start seeing signs of balding, thinning. And I'm just using my hair as an example. You're going to start seeing, old techniques of trying to hide the insecurity not work. And as adults, as mature individuals, at some point, we got to just say, all right, enough is enough. It's time for the Jordan, right? You ever see those old guys walk around and it's like they just hold on to like those 3 strands or, those 3 braids or that old Jerry curl? It's just like, nah. And they're doing it because they're trying to hold on to that last little piece of glory, but it's just like, let it go. It's time to let it go. And to be quite honest with you, I was surprised at how liberated I felt, because I didn't realize how much I worried about my head until I cut all my hair off. And I was like, dang, I've been stressing low key and I've gotten used to the anxiety of how my head looked or how I thought it looked for the better part of 15 plus years. And I didn't even realize it was that long until I said, man, it has been 15, 16 years. And I don't know, it makes you think about, what other insecurities do I have that could be holding me back, that I've just grown accustomed to hiding or covering up. Because to be quite honest with you, you know, we're not as good as hiding our insecurities as we think we are. I thought I was doing a good job hiding my little Red Sea part, right, with the thin started and thick. I thought I was doing good until somebody came to me and said, "Hey man, Nick, I saw you." And my hair has been like this for probably about 3.5, 4 weeks. So this may come to a surprise to a lot of people. So ta-da, Jordan. Somebody came to me and I was like, "Hey Nick, man, I gotta tell you, man, this bald look, I'm digging it. Cause man, I remember some Sundays." This a guy told me at church, y'all. If they can't keep it real with you at church, they don't know what to tell you. He said, "Man, listen, you'll bend your head back, man, and I will see that dip right there." And I was like, "Oh, Nick thinning up there." You know, and then I'll see it. And I didn't know this until somebody told me it was going back. It was going back, Doc. It was going back, Doc. And I said, man, and here I am thinking I'm getting away with it. I'm thinking that my insecurity is cool. I'm not showing. I'm fooling everybody. Nobody know I'm thin. Not even knowing that everybody knew I was thin, right? And so you may not be getting away with hiding your insecurities. Now, of course, I'm just talking about my hair, not even thinking about any other insecurities that I may have, right? So what are your insecurities? What are some things that you're hiding? What are some things that you've been dealing with that has affected you traumatically? Because let's be completely honest. Our insecurities aren't always self-enabled, right? Somebody may have said something, done something, did something that has caused you to basically look at yourself in a way that wasn't even in your realm of thinking until somebody said that to you, and it stuck with you. And whenever you try to, you know, do that thing, or whenever you try to wear this thing, or whatever you try to be yourself, that voice comes back. Dinosaur Head. Dinosaur Head. I think I'm gonna take my hat. Dinosaur Head. You know what I'm saying? That it always comes back, and it's just like, nah. Let me cover this back up. Let me cover this dome back up. I'm gonna have Rick make it even. No. Cut it off and be free, right? And so I'm just here to let y'all know that insecurities are a real thing. You know, insecurities. You know what's crazy about insecurities, man? I think about it. Insecurities have started wars. Men have went to wars over insecurities. People have died over insecurities. People have lost their homes, their families, their jobs over insecurities. People have lost out on great relationships. Man, if I could okay. Second short story, man. I went to TSU. Shout out to the TSU Tigers, right? I went to TSU, man, and there was this girl. We were friends, strictly platonic. She was really pretty. I'm not gonna say her name. Really, really pretty. And I remember she told me, she's like, "I feel like no one likes me." I said, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, I don't think that any guys want to talk to me." And I was just like, "What are you talking about? Guys, they holler at you all the time. What are you talking about?" She's like, "Yeah, but I don't think they talk to me because of my looks. I don't think I'm that pretty." And I just looked at her like, wow. And it makes you think, like, everything that my eyes see about myself, I sometimes can't trust, right? Now, for those of you who may not know, I'm a Christian, right? So I'm going to try not to preach, but the Bible talks about not leaning to your own understanding, right? And what the whole idea is saying is that we have to rely on what God says about us, right? We know that we can be wrong about our own image all the time. I know I have. Like, I've made a big deal about so many things about me that I thought were flawed, that I thought were inadequate. And I realized that, wow, I wasted so much time being stuck on what somebody said about me and how that made me feel and how that shut me down, right? We don't want to waste any more opportunities in our life by being insecure, right? But what that means is we have to do the work. We have to do the work. we have to figure out, okay, what's wrong with me? Nick, what's wrong with you? Right? Why do you feel this way? Okay, who did this to you? Who can you forgive? And how can we get over this? What do we have to do? Because guess what? I'm 30. This happened 15 years ago. And I just got over it 4 months ago. Right? And so that's a scary thought, to think that, man, all this time, I didn't know that I was holding on to that. And I let that decision dictate my image. So much so to the point that the person who said it probably doesn't even remember that she said it. But I still remember it, and it still feels fresh to me. It still felt fresh to me. And so don't let your insecurities hold you back, right? We have to deal with them. And a lot of those insecurities, they could come from dark places. Again, this is just one example that I'm dealing with my hair, but I have a lot of insecurities that I'm working through and I've worked through. But to be completely honest with you, I think insecurities can be used as platforms to push us into maturity, right? Because if you think about it, in high school, I don't really remember acknowledging that I had insecurities or even seeing insecurities, because in high school, we all were insecure. Everybody was insecure in high school. Everybody in high school was dealing with something, right? I mean, high school was a lot. I mean, that's a whole nother podcast. Just high school, oh man, that was crazy, right? But as you get older, you start to see how those things that were said to you, or the actions that were displayed towards you, you begin to see how those things affect you in your adulthood. And you just reach a certain point where it's just like, okay, if I don't deal with this, then this insecurity is going to not only hold me back, but it's going to make someone else insecure, because I'm trying to protect my insecurity. I'm trying to keep people away from that. I'm trying to basically defer my dealing with this as long as I can, as long as people validate me. Which brings me to another point. We can't expect people to coddle our insecurities. We can't do that, right? I can't expect someone to notice my insecurity and then feed me lies or give me this enablement type of relationship to where they don't really tell me, hey, Nick, it's time to cut your hair off, right? They can't keep saying, hey, Nick, no, you good, man. Keep keeping it like how you have it low. It's all right if it gets a little high. You good, man. You good. Just keep hiding it. You good. You know, anybody? No. I can't. You can't have people around you that won't tell you what they see, because again, insecurities eventually they just reveal themselves. You don't have to tell somebody that you're insecure. Now that I'm older, there are some people in my life that are adults that I can just look at them and talk to them, and I can point out the insecurities. Like, oh, right there. Oh, right there. Oh, that made you mad right there, right? I can do it all day, because insecurities reveal themselves. And I'm sure that has happened to me. All right. I'm sure people have been able to see my insecurities, because we think that we're hiding them, but we're actually just slowly and gradually revealing them. And insecurities, they make us be okay with a lie, a habitual lie that we've told ourselves to basically stop us from reaching a certain plateau in life that I think we could reach easily if that thing wasn't in the way. So I don't know, man. We gotta work through that. We gotta work through it, and it's going to take, a lot of personal development, a lot of conversations, a lot of just true empathy for oneself, right? Because I had to be honest and say, listen, you had a nice run, Nick. The fro game was your thing for a long time. And I looked at my father's head when I was 15, and I used to pick on him about, his hair loss, not even knowing that one day that would be me. And, I had to empathize with the fact that, hey, this person hurt me and it's okay, right? She hurt me and she had me hiding my head for all this time. But I had to say, listen, let's look at the reality of the thing. What's the reality? The reality is how I see myself is what matters the most, right? How I see myself, the vision that I feel that God has given me for myself is what I should run with. Not some side comment joke that, was said for whatever reason, which has caused me to derail my life, which caused me to derail everything, right? And this is just one example. So I don't know what insecurities that you may be dealing with, but I would challenge you to address it and do the best you can to get over it. I hate to sound so blunt, but I think that getting over an insecurity will increase the security that you have for yourself, and it will give your self-esteem the boost that you never really know that you were missing. So that's what I got for today. But what do you think? Let me know what you think. Any insecurities that you're dealing with, how have you dealt with them? What have you done? Are you dealing with them? Right? But that's all I got.